One of the worst invasive vines in portions of eastern North America is Asian bittersweet, Celastrus orbiculatus, which can now be found in every eastern state except for Florida. Not only does Asian bittersweet quickly engulf native trees and shrubs, often killing them in the process, but it is also displacing our Native American bittersweet, Celastrus scandens, in some parts of its range. For reasons we will get to in a bit. These two vines look much alike, and accurate identification is required when doing invasive species control so that only the invasive Asian bittersweet is removed and the Native American bittersweet is left untouched. I'm going to include several ways to separate these two bittersweets in the field, as some only work during certain seasons, and since bittersweets are diecious vines, meaning there are separate female and male vines, some of the ID methods won't work for both sexes. Let's start with the most obvious way to tell these two species apart, which is by using the showy fruits. The brightly colored fruits are obvious in both species during the fall and winter after the leaves have dropped. The fruit clusters of the American bittersweet will be at the tips of the branches, and the fruit clusters of Asian bittersweet will be all along the stem in the leaf axils next to the leaf buds. If you want more confirmation on the ID, there is a color difference in the capsules surrounding the mature fruits between the species. The capsule surrounding American bittersweet fruit is orange in color, and the capsule surrounding Asian bittersweet fruit is yellowish. Note that the capsules will split to expose the bright red fruits and may eventually fall off or lose color during the winter. Seed number per fruit is different between the species also, with American bittersweet having 1 or 0 seeds per fruit and Asian bittersweet having 5 or more seeds per fruit. This is one of the reasons Asian bittersweet is displacing American bittersweet in some areas. It produces more fruits and more seeds than an equally sized American bittersweet, and Asian bittersweet can get much larger than American. Of course, these methods only work on mature female bittersweet vines during the late summer, fall, and winter when they have fruits on them. Another method that can be used on mature plants is to look at the flower cluster locations. Just like with the fruits, American bittersweet will have flower clusters at the tips of the stems only, and Asian bittersweet will have flower clusters all along the stem in the leaf axils. The vines can be sexed at this time also, as the male flowers have multiple stamens that are covered in pollen, and the female flowers have a single, large pistil in the center. Pollen color can also be used to separate American from Asian bittersweet, as American bittersweet has bright yellow pollen and Asian bittersweet has whitish pollen. If you plan to treat vines in the winter, it is a good idea to mark the male Asian bittersweet as you ID it, as there will be no showy berries to look for once winter comes. Of course, identification by flower only works on mature vines and only for a short period of time each spring, so other methods are required during the rest of the year. But before we get to those, if you love learning how to tell natives from their invasive lookalikes, be sure to get out your magnifying glass and identify that like button. There are ways to tell the two bittersweets apart by using leaf characteristics. The first is to look at the leaves as they emerge from the bud. I couldn't find any good clear pictures of this, so I'm going to use a couple of visual aids. The emerging leaves of Asian bittersweet will be folded in half along their length, like this piece of paper. The emerging leaves of American bittersweet will have the edges rolled inward like a scroll. Just like a text from ancient Greece that you would expect to see Aristotle reading words of wisdom from. Like those written on this one that say it's a wise choice to support Backyard Ecology by subscribing, or to go above and beyond and support the channel financially through Patreon, PayPal donation, or by hitting that YouTube super thanks. Or go all in and tap into a wealth of knowledge and some great fellowship with like-minded individuals by joining the Backyard Ecology community. I'll have links in the description. And thank you to everybody who has helped support the channel. It means so much to us here at Backyard Ecology. Mature leaves can also be used for identification, but you will need a ruler and you must do some simple math. If the leaf length divided by width is greater to or equal to 2, then it is likely American bittersweet. And if the length divided by width is less than 1.4, it is likely Asian bittersweet. Leaf tip length of mature leaves can also be used, as American bittersweet will usually have a leaf tip longer than 1.5 centimeters or around 5/8 of an inch, and Asian bittersweet will mostly have a leaf tip of less than 0.3 centimeters or 1/8 of an inch. These leaf morphology characteristics are not absolutes and are only around 90% accurate. But they are the only option when dealing with immature vines or during periods when mature vines may not have flowers or fruit. You will likely run into all sorts of native vines and their invasive lookalikes while out working on controlling Asian bittersweet. And to learn about a couple that are common in many of the same places, check out this video on how to identify the native and invasive clematis, and be sure to get out and explore nature in your backyard.